Hey y'all, it is Krista here from Saving Grace Homestead, and I'm here today with a special little golden nugget to teach you a little something about chicks or specifically a chick issue that can arise, whether the chick is incubated or raised by a mama hen. And we're going to tell you this little nugget story. And hopefully you learned something. This one's a little miracle, or we consider it a little miracle, and I'll tell you why. So come along and let's learn something. Okay, this one is being very noisy, calling for mama, and has already pooped on me. So we're gonna put it back with mama, and then I'll tell you exactly what happened to this one, which is part of our third batch just born this week. All right, we'll put you back with mama and then we'll finish the story. Okay, let's go. All right, there you go. Have fun. So in the last 24 to 48 hours, right before a chick actually hatches out of the egg, the temperature is extremely important. It's important that that egg stays warm, because as that egg, or as the chick is getting ready to hatch, it actually starts to absorb the yolk that is inside that egg, and that yolk is going to provide nutrients and energy for that chick as they sort of get adjusted to life outside of the egg in that first day or so after they've hatched. So their body is absorbing that yolk. The intestines, the little belly button where they kind of have a little umbilical cord that goes from their navel area that attaches to the egg and all the blood vessels inside. And so all of that is closing up and being absorbed. And so that last 24 to 48 hours is really important in terms of keeping a warm temperature. Now, that's a little bit more dangerous when you are one of the last chicks to hatch, because at this point, mama already had 6 little black chicks that she was mothering. And she had other eggs still under her that she was just kind of done sitting on. She would come back and she would sit on them, but she started taking the other chicks outside and showing them how to eat and doing all those little mama things that our mama hens do. So that egg is given a chance to kind of cool down and spend more time not under mama than it really needs to be. We've seen that 2 or 3 times this season. We didn't see it at all last year. This year was the first year we experienced that. And so all the other chicks that have had that happen, we've noticed that they've had a little bit of trouble hatching, or, you know, when they do hatch out, they'll have their little navel area is red. It looks like there's almost like a little umbilical hernia, and it's not completely closed up, or they'll still have that umbilical cord kind of attached to the inner egg portion. And they have very bloated looking little bellies. Now, chicks do kind of have big bellies because they have just absorbed that yolk, but these tend to be bigger than usual. And those chicks have died within 24 to 48 hours after being born. One of the things we've noticed is that they don't even fluff up. They don't get that down look to them. They kind of keep that wet, I was just born look, even though they aren't wet. So that's been disappointing to see that. We've seen that 2 or 3 times this season. And that is what happened with our little golden nugget. The chicks started to hatch, but then mama kind of cracked the egg also. So at some point she must have stepped on it or something. And so I wasn't sure if it was even going to make it to hatch, but then it did hatch out, but the little umbilical cord was still attached to the egg. And so I thought, oh no, this is gonna be one of those things. I didn't touch it. I let it kind of complete the hatching on its own. And when it did hatch out, I noticed that its belly was pretty big, bigger than what is usual. So I told the kiddos, I was like, it's a cute little golden one amongst this whole batch of little black chicks, and it's cute, but just be prepared. You know, it has that yolk belly, and so it might not make it. We'll just kind of watch and see. Well, we came back out later that day, and the chick had fluffed up in its little down fluff. And so I thought, well, that's a good sign, but you know, we're not out of the woods yet. We'll just kind of watch and see. So it stayed under mama, and we gathered with some family for my husband's birthday and came back later that night. And of course, in the evening and early morning, the temperatures are definitely cooler. They drop more. And it's extremely important for newborn chicks to keep warm, and they'll spend a lot of time under mama. So that's normal, but those chicks that are born with that yolk belly, they do tend to have a harder time regulating their temperature. And so they tend to spend a lot more time under mama than even your typical chick would. So I came home, it was dark, temperatures had dropped, and I went to just check on the chick to see how things were doing, if it was under mama. And when I peeked inside the brooder coop, mama was sitting in the nesting box with all of her little chicks under her, except for one. Little golden chick, for whatever reason, had not made it underneath mama and was laying sprawled out in the middle of the brooder coop and was doing that death gasping, you know, like we're on our deathbed here. Chick was cold. So I quickly scooped it up, stuck it under mama all the way to her center to get the chick as warm as possible, as quickly as possible. I went inside for about 10 minutes, couldn't get the chick off my mind. I came back outside, brought the chick inside, and blew on it with a blow dryer to just warm it up as quickly as I could. And again, went back outside, stuck it under mama to her center, and just kind of hoped for the best through the night. When I came back out the next morning to check, not sure exactly what I was going to find, but little golden chick was sitting running around with all of the other little black ones, and even starting to peck at food, which again, those little yolk belly born chicks, they tend to not focus on eating or drinking. They spend all of their energy just trying to keep warm. And so I was very pleased to see that the chick was starting to behave like a chick and starting to kind of peck at some of its siblings and starting to peck at the ground and eat and mimic some of those behaviors that mama and the other chicks were doing, which was really good news. And so I told the kiddos we're not completely out of the woods yet, because I could tell that it moved a little slower than everybody else. It tended to look sleepy a lot faster. When everybody else was pecking around, it would start to close its eyes and just kind of huddle down, and it tried to be more in the sunshine when mama would take them out and stay in a warm place. So I worried the first 2 or 3 days about it staying warm enough, but now it's starting to get little feathers on its wings and all that. So it definitely defied the odds. It is our little miracle chick, but that is something to be careful of if you are going to hatch out chicks. Even if you're doing it in the brooder, you've got to make sure that all of those eggs are from the same day or two. If they were not laid the same day or within a couple days of each other, their hatching times are going to be so different, which means their gestation is going to be different, and the temperature is not going to be right for some of those eggs when they need it to be. And so it's the same thing if you're doing hatching by hen. You want to make sure that the eggs underneath her are from the same day or from that day and the previous day, and that you mark all of those and you take out any eggs that come after that, because you don't want chicks that are due so much later, because she's not going to be sitting on them once she gets busy with chicks. They're going to get cold and they're either going to pass away before they hatch, or you're going to end up with these chicks that the egg got too cold and their body wasn't fully able to absorb the yolk, fully able to for that navel area to close up, and then they become really susceptible to getting too cold. They just can't regulate their body temperature as well as a normal chick, and they also are very susceptible to bacteria getting in and then just killing them very quickly. If you want to learn a little bit more about that or what it looks like, you can look up mushy chick syndrome or mushy chick disease. That's one of the things that it goes by. But anyway, I just wanted to share the story of our little miracle golden nugget there. Don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl yet. If we're going to have a hen or a roux. Thank you for adding your 2 cents. And also just give you a little education along the way. So I hope you learned something. Hope you liked our little miracle baby story, and I will see you in the next one.